Today, I am with Melanie Fox from Reinvent Intelligence, and we completed a project with Reinvent in 2022, which was a Xero and cloud implementation project. So Melanie is the finance manager with Reinvent. I hope I'm getting the title right, Melanie.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go through a couple of questions about what that project was like. So first and foremost, Melanie, what problem were you trying to solve? What brought you around to contacting Satori Accounting?
Well, our accounts package was not really giving us what we needed. It was very cumbersome. There wasn't the reporting function. It was too easy to make mistakes, and it actually felt very dated.
Yeah.
So we were looking at a new solution for mainly for the accounts package, and the other things that have happened, are a bonus. But it was the accounts package update and improvements we were looking for.
And you were moving from, I think it was Sage 200,
Sage
if I remember
200,
rightly
yes.
at the time.
Having previously been on Sage 50 as well.
Right, okay. And in terms of working with us at Satori, and I know obviously I was heavily involved with the project because of the sort of volumes involved.
Yes.
Talk about the processes that we helped, I suppose, to implement and the way that that's now working for you guys at Reinvent.
You took from the end of our last year end, so from the start of that current financial year, and basically reposted all of our transactions to mirror the previous accounts settings, and so that we weren't just posting opening balances. When you post opening balances, obviously you don't know it's easy to lose or forget what those balances are made up of. So we had a complete replica of the accounts package we had used up until that point.
Because we were doing a mid-year transition.
Yes, it was exactly half year.
6 months of transactions and a lot of transactions.
Yes.
And I remember as well that there were issues then in trying to export even information out of your previous system. So we did extra work to kind of get it all to reconcile mid-year for you to go on from there. And the software then that we have implemented for you guys is, Xero is the core platform.
Yes.
But we also put Dext in alongside it, and then we updated your GoCardless integration as well. In terms of all of those systems now, what's the results? Like, is there some kind of measurable way that you'd say that the processes that we set up have really added value to the business?
Definitely. There's a number of areas. All of the first of all, Dext, the purchase invoice platform, I had never heard of that. I don't think any of us here had heard of that, and I didn't imagine really. Sage was difficult to get in, not difficult to get invoices on, but it was lengthy as well.
Yeah.
So using Dext, not only has it saved, there was something that I probably never would have come across had you not have implemented that for us, because I wouldn't have necessarily have gone looking for it.
Yeah.
And I also would have been worried about implementing something like that on our own, in the same way that I would have been worried about implementing Xero on our own. It's not something that I would have liked to have done ourselves without your help. So Dext is something that we never would have come across. It has saved hours upon hours, really, I would say, of adding supplier invoices, because there's at least 200 or 300 invoices that come in every month, and they take minutes, not even really, to put on. And because it remembers where you posted the last invoice, you're checking more than inputting.
You're letting the software do a lot of the legwork for you, really, aren't you?
Yes. So it saved all of that time there. The way that we now there's a few things really. The bank, because we're multi-currency, there's the open banking for the sterling, which we can't do for the euro, but there's the template to import the transactions. So even importing the transactions usually takes me around 5 minutes every morning to do the previous day. Whereas if we were manually inputting all of those on individually for 3 separate banks, that takes a lot of time too. It could easily have taken an hour every morning to process the banks for the previous day.
Yeah.
There's those things too. So even when you're doing something that's manual, it's still quicker, because there's a lot more facility for importing that we didn't have before. And we invoice in bulk at the first of the month. So the process that we had before was very, very manual, very lengthy and very cumbersome. Now that it has taken those few months to iron out the facility we use for bringing that information in. It's taken that time to get that all sort of finessed. But now even the billing process can be done in a day.
Oh, brilliant. And that's the benefit of cloud, because it's there's so much connectivity between systems.
That's right.
And another big one I know we worked on was you guys were using GoCardless for your direct debit collections. But the way it was being used was still requiring a lot of manual reconciliation.
That's right.
We built GoCardless for Xero's integration in between them. How much sort of time has that really saved?
I would say that has easily saved 2 days a month.
Wow.
Easily 2 days a month, because we would have to go on manually and check the direct debits before they were collected. Then when they were collected, before we set up the GoCardless for Xero, I was able to import any of the collections as a CSV file and upload those. So it was still a lot quicker, but it still took time. Now that GoCardless talks to Xero, it again is a case of check-in. We add a new customer, it finds the mandate, it's agreeing that that's the right mandate, but there's all that work is done at the early stages, and then it's a case of running the report a couple of times a month to check who it's taking from and that it's right. And because it finds the invoice, it always takes the right amount of money. You're not set up on a fixed subscription or plan with somebody where you might be taking an incorrect amount of money on or missing invoices and things like that.
Brilliant.
So between all those, where before we even had Xero, and we were manually inputting every single direct debit through the bank for 2 currencies. So between all of those things, I would say it's easily saved 2 days worth of work.
So speed of information and quality of information is the main benefit there. Brilliant. Last question for you is, would you recommend working with Satori on like a digital transformation project, and why would you recommend working with Satori?
I definitely would, because you definitely took away a lot of the hassle and stress of doing it. And also you could rely on the accuracy of it. Whereas because Xero was new to us, we made mistakes in our first couple of months of using it because we hadn't used it before. If we were trying to learn a completely new software and bring information into it, I think it would still be a disaster, because we wouldn't have learned what we've learned about Xero quick enough to be able to bring over all the information and check that it was right.
Brilliant.
So it's definitely not something that we could have done on our own.
I think that's a benefit of not only a Xero certified advisor, but we've been using it now for 13 years, and it's accountancy experience to sort of gel together with that. We really enjoyed working with you and the team at RE as well. And listen, thank you very much for your time on this today as well, Melanie. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant. No problem at all.
Thank you very much.